Hey everybody, my name is Steve Jaciuk. I'm a senior captain here at the University of Minnesota on the men's gymnastics team. As far as this past weekend, we had a dual meet with Illinois at Illinois. I'll take you through an event-by-event process. So we entered it on floor, and the setting was a little bit warm. It was a little bit difficult to deal with, and it could definitely show. It took a little bit of time for us to definitely get our footing. A few of the guys missed their sets, but our freshmen Joel Gagnon and Jalen Stevens, they hit two pretty huge sets for us, which actually saved us ending on the floor lineup. As we entered it on horse, unfortunately the only big hit sets that we had were Luke Aldrich and Paul Montague actually scored really well. But we were in a little bit of a hole after those first two events, and our footing wasn't really there. We didn't really have any momentum, and Illinois was really starting to pull away. So Paul and I thought it was our duties to really run up the team right after those two events and really starting to get each other going. We needed to get any sort of momentum, otherwise this meet was just going to be, just a straight lost cause. So after our talk, we talked briefly for about a minute. We definitely riled up the troops, and after that, we actually went 6 for 6 on rings, which is awesome. Unfortunately, we couldn't do that on floor and pommel horse, but we definitely learned the lesson that we should probably, meet before and after each event going forward in these next few meets, because you can kind of stay together. You can have that feeling of collectiveness and a lot more support on each event. So after rings, we went 6 for 6, which was awesome. We went to vault, and it was all right. It wasn't our greatest. Our senior, Sean Bauer, really stepped up. He drilled his vault, as well as Jack Kramer. His isn't the hardest vault, but it's definitely a momentum builder, and that's all we can really ask for out of him. As we moved to parallel bars, with the setup that we had, we were rotating with Illinois, and it was a little bit of an inconvenience and a little bit time elongating. So we had to make grips from scratch after every single person. And I know some of the judges were complaining that people like myself and Ryan Bergman were taking a little bit too long. But at that point in the meet, we just wanted to take our time and get a feeling of comfort. So we overall had a pretty good P-bar lineup, with the exception of me, of course, where I took a pretty nasty spill. I'm actually wearing a leg brace right now for it, but I definitely recovered from it. And going forward on high bar, we also everybody hit, and it was one of the best high bar showings we have had all year. Our best score on high bar all year, away, especially after a rough meet. It's hot. It was definitely one of the brighter strengths to take away from that meet. And we all definitely built some strengths and some momentum off of that. Going into this week, we want to avoid what had happened at that meet, and it's nice that we have a home meet against UIC and Nebraska, and we have the JL meet going on as well. So there's going to be a lot of fans there. It's going to be a lot of energy, and I'm sure it's going to be a lot of home support. But it's so crucial that we find our togetherness, we stay collective, and we really find out who we are as a team and really display that and show those two other teams that we're going up against, as well as all the people in the audience, how good we really are. Ways we can do that is our training schedule. Everybody's starting to work with their coaches, and they're getting into their routines and seeing what works for them, what doesn't work for them. But primarily it's how we execute in competition, and that includes mental toughness. Now, we're all coming together sometime this week, and we're going to discuss what works for ourselves, individually and as a team. And once we can figure that out, then I think that this team's not going to go anywhere but up. So just be on the lookout for a lot of progress coming forward. But like all things, it's going to take a bit of time, and there's definitely a bit of a learning curve, but I'm excited to take on this challenge with myself and Paul and the senior leaders. But yeah, it should be a good showing this weekend, so go Gophers.